guys want to start?
You ready to start?
All right.
Are you guys ready?
Everyone, no, I'm not. Wait, I'm gonna wait. He's not ready.
How about we give you another 4? Can't give you 5.
We give you 4 or 8?
Well, guys, thanks for coming. Thanks for coming to How to Run a Child's Play charity event. So let's introduce everyone that we've got up here. From the site geekwatch.com, my name is Joe Valenti. I'm head of staff at Geekwatch. I've got my wife here, Katie Valenti. She's our event coordinator. We've got Jamie Dillon from Child's Play Charity. We've got Kristen Lindsay, foundation coordinator over at Child's Play Charity. And all the way at the end, last but not least, we've got Yogi, the puppet master. So,
And we have Commander Shuppet in the middle.
Yeah.
and Commander Shepard.
We need to come up like he's Pup Shep. Shep Pup. I don't know. We'll work on it. By the end of the panel, we expect to have a suitable name for him.
So, Kristen, why don't you tell the crowd a little bit about Child's Play?
I would love to, Joe. Thank you so much. Hi, everybody. As Joe said, I'm Kristen Lindsay. I'm the foundation coordinator for Child's Play. If you don't know what Child's Play is, just a little quick primer. We are a nonprofit that was founded by and managed, continues to be managed by the video games community and industry. And our main objective is to donate toys, specifically video games and consoles and things like that, but also other toys, books, and just sort of fun things to do to pediatric hospitals worldwide, mostly within the US, but we do have a number of international partners. Our goal is fun, escape, just things that kids want to do when they're in the hospital having a miserable time. So that is our mandate at Child's Play, and we are very heavily reliant on the community. It's really a community-supported charity. We don't do a lot of corporate stuff. And it's basically community fundraisers and the supports of video gamers worldwide.
Absolutely.
And that's Child's Play in a nutshell.
Great. Now, if you're wondering what the hell we're doing up here, this is what we did to help. We've run 3 charity events starting in November of 2010. We started Mass Effect Marathon. It was a 3-day gaming marathon. We played Mass Effect 1 and 2 consecutively. And one of the big things that we did was that we gave all of the major decisions to the fans. That was our little gag, our little gimmick. And there was over 2,000 votes in some polls. And pretty much people got to choose how we played the game and then could donate to see us sing, dance, and generally embarrass ourselves for the children. And then we followed that up in June with the Slumber Party.
Yeah, the Slumber Party was actually my brainchild. After we did Mass Effect Marathon, I really wanted to do something that was a little more party game friendly. So we pretty much all dressed up in pajamas and played party games for 24 hours. And then every time we hit a certain donation lock, we unlocked, instead of unlocking an event, we unlocked costumes. So we all kind of like dressed up in different costumes and generally embarrass ourselves for charity.
Note that theme that goes through Child's Play fundraising events.
Misery or embarrassment?
Yeah, misery or embarrassment, but are high on
For the children?
Yeah, for the kids.
It's all for the children, guys.
Yeah.
So we did that, and Yogi, why don't you tell them about Mass Effect Marathon 2 and what we added to the formula?
Then we did Mass Effect Marathon 2. We figured, hey, we did 1, we can do 2, we can do it bigger and better, and generally embarrass ourselves even more for the children. My brainchild of the puppets came about in Mass Effect Marathon 2, so we figured, let's go bigger, let's go longer. We actually went shorter. we got good enough that we could go through Mass Effect 1 and 2 fairly quickly. We added a bunch of donation levels. We still gave the choices to the fans, and we got, I think, twice as many votes that time around.
Yeah, we did. And we allowed people to donate to their favorite character. So people were fighting to make sure that their character was the number 1. And it was nice ways to entice people to donate. So that's what we've done for Child's Play Charity. And we wanted to showcase some of the other things that people have done, whether it's live events, internet events, or other events throughout the world, we want to show what people are doing for Child's Play. Yeah.
Now whip it, in the shade, shake it up, get straight, move forward, move ahead, like you can have it, it's not too late to whip it good. Where in the world is Carmen San Diego? Where in the world is Carmen San Diego?
See, we don't get to keep any of this money, 'cause it all goes to Child's Play charity.
That cat doesn't look happy.
Good enough.
You have a space jump, James! You in space jump! Holy crap! You said space jump! Why are you proud of me? Well, you have space jump! Holy crap! I can't believe you! I hate you so much! Maybe that's okay for now, but someday you'll be out of food and ice, and then you'll have to make the call.
They're asking for a kiss.
So yeah, that's kind of what some of us do for Child's Play.
My favorite part of that is how shenanigans was like a separate category from everything else. All that stuff was totally serious. The
Yeah.
shenanigans was at the end.
Very serious,
Yeah.
Very
classically trained singing.
You know, the best part about the shenanigans is there were so many things we wanted to include and just could not find video clips of. Not to mention that our whole first marathon, Ustream like deleted all the video files for it, so we don't have anything from Mass Effect 1 marathon. So there's much more shenanigans there.
Right, but I mean, the great thing about this is, and this is what we're going to go over right now, there are lots of different types of events that you can run. It doesn't just have to be internet. But right now, Yogi, why don't you tell them about internet-based events?
Internet-based events are probably your easiest to run because you can run them out of the comfort of your own home. And there are two big ones you can do. It's you can run a tournament, online tournament, and just kind of either Ustream that, or not Ustream in and of itself, but streaming in general. Or you can do like we do. It's shenanigans. It's a kind of a telethon almost, an internet telethon where you have people donate for you to do things, or you set a whole lineup of things to do.
Yep, absolutely. And in addition to that, there's some suggestions of what you guys can expect to get to actually run this. And there will be a PDF of this presentation that you guys can get, and we'll give that to you later. But Katie, why don't you tell them about local events?
Well, I'm not super well versed in local events, but the local events and the internet events aren't super different, except there are certain things with live events that you can't do with local events, such as like you have to coordinate with the venue, you have to find a place to have it, you have to make sure that what you're doing at the event is okay for the place that you're having it. So these are all, there's just a couple added steps, but it's all pretty much the same. And I feel like it's as broad as your imagination can run with both types of events. Like most people do a telethon, or most people do in a live event have a certain, but it's really so super broad as to what you can do. Whatever you can dream up is, you just have to, kind of put it into reality.
Yep. So, and another big thing is, if you're going to do a local event, please contact Jamie or Kristen or both.
Yeah. We'll talk about that. If you're going to do anything, please talk to us. About
Yes,
it.
because they want to talk to you. They're excited about it.
We're sad when you don't talk to us.
So, and the other type of thing that you can do is selling items such as auctions and stuff like that. There are some examples on the right-hand side of some people that took it upon themselves to just be like, hey, we want to do something really cool, and not your typical thing. Especially like if you guys see anybody with a plate of cookies running around PAX, that's the Cookie Brigade, and they're awesome. Please support them. Your money goes straight to Child's Play, and you get awesome cookies out of it. It's a brilliant idea. So
Yeah, we ran into those guys last night, and they just were like, we were 3 drinks in, and they're like, you want some cookies? We're like, yeah, we want some cookies.
Who doesn't want cookies?
Take all my money. It's fine.
it's for the kids. It's fine. So these are some general recommendations for the event, and we're going to go over them right now. The biggest thing is think of what your goal and your theme of your event will be. Like for example, when we were doing Mass Effect Marathon, we wanted to do a gaming marathon, but we wanted it to be a gaming series that we really loved. So Mass Effect was the obvious choice, and I was like, well, how do we make that interesting? Because it's a bunch of dialogue wheels for 60 plus hours. So we came up with the idea of you can vote for how you want us to play the game and stuff like that. So just coming up with your own unique twist on whatever event you're trying to do, that will really help you out. And same thing is break the event down into tasks and milestones. It's a lot of planning. The more planning you put into your event, the better your event will be. That's just the way it is. And so just make sure that you try and think of as many things as possible. And when you contact Child's Play, they will make sure that they will bring some things to your attention that you may not have thought about.
Yeah,
So,
and Jamie and I are both gamers, and we're both totally into whatever you're doing too. So chances are, for example, when Joe contacted me and said he wanted to do a Mass Effect marathon, I'm a bit of a Mass Effect fan.
I as well have gotten a tattoo during the marathon.
Yeah, my point is
Thank you for your donations.
Yeah, the point is we can definitely help you flesh out those ideas, because we're really enthusiastic about it as well, and we'll be able to help you brainstorm on how to best maximize whatever it is that you're doing. So feel free to talk to us about it. We're definitely a resource for the planning as well as the execution.
Absolutely. And then Jamie, why don't you tell us about the event calendar? That's like the new cool feature on the website that's people should know about.
We got a really shiny new website earlier this year. It was pretty incredible. And part of it is that there's an event calendar. And so you can, we like people to kind of have their ideas fleshed out pretty well. So contact us if you're just kind of in the brainstorming phase. But once you decide, okay, I'm going to do a Tetris marathon on July 3rd, and
Oh man, you took my idea.
you can actually submit that event on our calendar, and it will show up, and it'll have where people go and a little bit of information about it, and it's a great way. We have an incredible community of kind of dedicated followers of marathons. If you go in the chat, you'll see a lot of the same people over and over, because they love. They're funny, they're entertaining, and they also go to what we think is a really great cause. So it's a great way to kind of get the word out about your event and let people know, like, yeah, Child's Play knows what we're doing, and we're really excited about it. So it's on the website under events.
Yeah.
Pretty obvious.
Yeah. So like they said, just contact Jamie and Kristen, and just from there flesh it out, and then put it up on the events calendar, and then you're there. You're in the game. So, and then from there, our biggest planner is my wife Katie. She plans everything. So Katie, why don't you tell them about some of the things that they should be on the lookout for?
Well, in all honesty, no matter what event you plan, the first everything starts with an idea. So once you have the idea, or you have a group of friends to get an idea, start making that. Joe mentioned it before about planning it into actionable items. We kind of run by the thought, if any one of you have ever seen Wayne's World 2, where the British guy comes in and he says, "Need 2 men to run a stage show, one to be in the front, one to be in the back." Joe will come to me at the beginning of the year and say, I want to do this, and I wanted to do this, and I want all this stuff, and I say, okay, I'll make that happen for you. And I plan it. But the secret to, most people think that the secret to looking like you're relaxed and carefree comes organically, and then, no, these people are just funny, or these people, it's not like that. The funnier you are, really has to do with the fact that it's in our marathon in particular, meticulously plan every finite detail. Do not leave anything to chance. The secret to a good event is to overplan, to overprepare. Ours are fairly lofty. If you know, one of our clips is like, I plan 2 dances every year. That's like my huge contribution, is that I build these 2 dances. But one of the other benefits of what we do is the fact that we have 13 people who are involved in our group. We have Joe, and his second is Yogi, and then there's me, and then my second is Allison, and then we have everyone else who kind of helps one with the other. If someone says, I have this great idea, try to get as many people involved as you can, and and get them to follow a schedule. And that's the only thing. You need someone to really say, here's what the schedule is, and here's all our actionables. Because really, our big thing is that everyone is always looking for a forum to do good things. You know, it happens all the time, is that people are I really do believe in my heart that people are generally good, and people want to do good things. They don't always know how to do the good things. So, you know, if you take it upon yourself to build kind of the framework, people will fall in, and we've seen that over and over with our friends, is that when we make the schedule, when we build it, and we say, hey, can you take this? They're always more than willing to take and run with it. They just need to know where to go.
Yeah.
They run with it.
Yeah, so absolutely. And so you know, get friends, get volunteers, and leverage their unique abilities. You know, like
A good support
and
team
their
is
talents.
critical, for sure.
Absolutely. So the other thing that you're going to want to do is promoting your event. Facebook, Twitter, Reddit. There's some gaming marathon websites, GameStreams TV, Genstream.net. They're very good sites. So just other ways to just get to get the word out about what you're trying to do. And the more you promote through any means, the more likely that people are going to show up to your event. And hopefully, if either they're going to donate or they're going to tell their friends, hey, this is an awesome event, you should come on in, watch, and then hopefully donate. You know, it's like, even if people don't donate, if they're telling their friends about it and they're spreading the word, that's just as helpful as, you know, as donating. So the better you can promote the event, the better everything will be.
Because in the end, I mean, you can plan all you want, but if no one's watching, no one's watching.
Yeah, that's true. So, Yogi, why don't you go over a little bit of finding ways to entice people to donate?
Well,
We've already covered the embarrassment. I think
embarrass yourself. Do that. It works. The most important thing is to have fun. When people see you having fun, they're going to want to donate. You can do. I mean, we did a puppet theater. As Katie said, we do dances. Anything you guys are good at is enough for people to donate. Even if you don't think you're funny, other people will definitely think you're funny, because we don't think we're funny at all. We think we're funny to ourselves, but we never imagine that other people would think it's cool and it's good enough to donate money to Child's Play too.
I always think people are also really easily impressed too. Sometimes
Yes.
we do little things and they're like, wow, that's amazing, and I'm like, oh, thanks.
We cut it out of cardboard. Thanks for noticing. You know, like some yeah.
That's all you do.
Then there's shopping.
He's actually impressive.
But you know, there's other things that you can do. Like I know Mario Marathon. Their big thing is every single level in a Mario game is a donation level, and it gets exponentially more expensive. So if you really want them to torture themselves and play the blue coin levels in Sunshine, which everyone does, then you're gonna have to donate a lot of money. Same thing with with Desert Bus. You know, the more you donate, the more they force themselves to play that game. I think last time they was like 7 days straight or 6 days straight.
Yeah.
Yeah, 6.5 days straight.
I think something Yogi said is really interesting. I just want to pick up on it, where he said that, you know, we think we're funny, but we never thought anyone else would think we're funny. One of the things I really love about the Child's Play community and the donors is that you are my friends. Like you are the people who would think I was funny. We're not, it's not like, you know, you're, I don't know, some big fancy non-profit group where everyone, you know, is very hoity-toity and sends out the mailers and stuff like that. We're all just gamers, we're all just pals, and what I think is fun and interesting and exciting is there's probably a lot of overlap there with what you guys think is interesting and fun and exciting. So we really all are on a level playing field, and you guys are totally going to get it when we're like, oh man, we're going to, you know, if you donate this much money, we'll play the blue coin level, to take your example. You guys are like, oh yeah, I want to see that, because it means something to you, and it means the same thing to us. So whoever is doing the fundraisers, you know, if you guys decide to go ahead and do something, the people that you're trying to, you know, entice to donate, they're your people. We're all each other's people, and we're not trying to impress anybody else other than just other gamers. So if you think it's cool and fun and would be a great idea, chances are pretty good that everybody else in this room and everybody else in our awesome gamer family is going to agree with you. So don't worry about really trying to, oh, I wonder if anyone's going to like this, because yeah, man, we get it. We're going to like it. It's going to be rad. We love it already.
Very nice to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
I also wanted to make one quick note about incentives, is that
No, you
gamers-
can't. No, sorry.
Interrupt. Gamers are super competitive. Like, you'll notice a lot of the donation levels level up. Like if you use gamer terms and the way that we work, it works really well. People love to either challenge people or, you know, you guys did like condiment challenges.
Leverage our culture.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many stories. I mean, one of the things that was really good for us is that one of our fans, Jimmy, came up with an idea. He was like, I want to help you guys raise money for Child's Play. You guys are doing player sponsorship where people can sponsor their favorite player. Put me on the list, and for every $50, I will keep my head shaved for a month. He raised $800 in like a day because his friends were like, "Oh, you're good."
And he's still
bald. But I mean, that's like a way to entice people, like people that wouldn't necessarily have known about our marathon. You know, Jimmy was like, "Hey, you should check this out." And oh, by the way,
You guys got tattoos.
oh yeah.
Or done.
Woohoo! Isn't it awesome? Joe and I totally were like tattoo buddies.
Yeah, I know.
We're always exchanging ink.
Yeah, pretty much.
And I'm very envious. I'm totally envious of his mass relay. Does that sound weird?
That sounds hot. That's what
That sounds
sounds
really hot, right? But I am.
But I mean, in addition, like Yogi got, he's got a Child's Play logo.
I've got a Child's Play logo on my leg,
real
so
dedication.
that requires taking off pants. I'm not going to show you
Yeah.
that.
So sorry.
And then I have a Miranda on my shoulder.
This
I mean, I
really
can take
cool
my shirt
Miranda
off.
pin.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
yeah, you
incredible.
should show that at some point.
Yeah, but I mean,
I'll show you guys after the panel.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the thing. So like these are things that's like, who would have thought to get tattoos in the middle of a marathon? I literally just asked Yogi, and I was like, can we do this? And I was like, yeah, let's do this. Like if
We
you
literally
asked-
just made a list of all the silly things we could think of. We grossed jelly beans, we did condiment shots, we sang, danced, got tattoos.
Not that we're advocating condiment.
No, we're not. In the end,
but I
it's
mean,
just
these are all the
being
things that we
creative.
were willing to do, and you guys may be willing to do X, Y, and Z. So
This is a strictly no mustard marathon.
The more creative you are, the better the marathon becomes.
right, because people will pick up on that creativity, and like Kristen and Jamie have said, it's like these are your people. They're going to be like, that's awesome. Like I wouldn't have thought of that, and they're going to be excited. They're going to want to donate to see it. And I mean, the last thing I have on this slide is don't be afraid to ask for help for the event or any crazy idea that you may have. I remember that for the slumber party, I emailed Jamie and said, Jamie, we've got this old Sega that still works. Can we ship it to you and have everyone in the Penny Arcade office sign it, and then we can auction it off? And sure enough, like coming back to my doorstep was that awesome Sega signed by every single person in the Penny Arcade office. And then we auctioned it off. It's like it doesn't
This is
matter.
a great time to get those signatures, by the way.
You're all here.
You know, and in that vein, Joe, if you're starting a marathon and you're not sure, like we give away a ton of stuff at our marathon, don't be afraid to ask for stuff. I know that sounds crazy, but we email companies all over and say, hey, we're doing this if you're interested. And you'd be surprised at how many of them, like, that's all it took was one email. And they're like, oh, yeah, we'll send you some stuff.
Right,
Or,
and-
oh,
yeah.
yeah, we'll make you that.
You'll send emails and you won't get responses, or you'll get emails being like, oh, we can't really do that. But, it's, and you can say, thanks anyways, really appreciate it. But, if you just ask, people will help out. We asked Mark Meir, the voice of Commander Shepard, to do a voice-in for our marathon, and he did it.
Yeah. He said, oh, I'm in the studio, and like now we have this really awesome soundbite that says like, hi, I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite gaming marathon on the Citadel. And I'm like, that's so awesome.
Is that great or what?
It's just ask. Like, it can't hurt you to ask. So.
Which is another good reason to contact us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because companies will
that.
say like, oh, well, how do I know that they're not just trying to get free stuff? And
Yeah.
you can say, yeah, just get in touch with Jamie, get in touch with Kristen.
That's definitely something
they
you
can
can
vouch
do
for
for
us.
us, too.
And it makes the whole process a little smoother if you
Yes.
talk to us first, because sometimes we'll have companies say like, hey, have you heard of this marathon? And we have to be like, oh, not yet.
We're hoping to.
We're going to eventually.
So-
So get in touch with us first, and we can kind of
We'll point you in the right direction.
Support that.
And in terms of asking for help, we have to say when we were new and we knew nothing, and Joe had just said, hey, I think I kind of want to do this, and we went, oh, okay. We had so many people who were in this gaming community, this charity gaming marathon community, who just reached out to us and helped us with an overlay and helped us with a donation bar and helped us with all these technical components that we were like, oh, well, we don't really know how to put them together. I mean, if that's your barricade where you say, oh, I want to do this, but I don't have the technical knowledge, there is a whole host of people who do these marathons or who, we have a guy who's been modding our chat since the beginning, just because he said, hey, I really want to mod your chat. We said, all right, you do that. Thanks so much.
Get these spammers out of my chat.
And I'm telling you, the community is just super welcoming, and there's always a place to go if you just don't know how to fix something, or you don't know why does this come up weird, or how do I make an overlay? Like, I'm telling you, I don't think we have anything listed on here, but we have all those connections for you. So
I do have some contacts for people to.
Well, and it goes both ways. If you can't support Child's Play financially right now, but you happen to be like you make really cool websites, or you design a cool logo, or you have some sort of skill or talent,
Or you make puppets.
or you make awesome puppets, that's another way to support without having to feel like you have to support financially. You can, and even just being in the chat. I know that
Definitely.
I hear a lot from marathons that like even if you don't donate, you don't help in like a tangible way, but you're just there and you're talking to people and you're supportive. That makes a huge difference for the morale of the whole event.
Yeah,
it's
it
really
It keeps the
helpful.
energy up for sure, just
Definitely.
to support other events.
Yeah, it definitely helps when it's 4 o'clock in the morning and you're out of energy drinks and you need to just keep going. It's nice to have the chat to be like, shut up, keep playing.
Suck it up.
So, and then our last major slide is like, okay, you've made it this far. You have an event. You've talked to all the people you need to. It's the day of the event. During your event, Katie, what's the most important thing that you need to do?
Oh, my favorite is interact with your fans. That's what we like to do. That's what we love the most about what Mario Marathon does, is that people and the fans, they want to feel like the people who are at home watching you, they want to feel like they have some sort of connection with you. Like that they're, not only are you like, you're not behind this mythical fourth wall, like they can say, hey, you want to do this thing for me? And I'd be like, you want to give me $20? And they'll say, sure. And I go, okay, we're going to do that. All right.
Yeah, no problem.
But for the kids.
Not for me.
But it honestly, it makes the sentiment of your whole operation so much better, because they're reaching out to you and you're reaching back to them, and it's having that kind of connection with the fans and with people who are watching you. I think is just really important, and I know that they appreciate it.
Absolutely. And the second one that I've got up here, and this is a big one, this is something that I have to remind myself of sometimes, is do not get discouraged. No matter what happens during the event, if stuff gets set on fire, if things are falling over,
Camera goes down, your feed is gone.
Yeah,
Take
the
a
feed is
breath.
gone. If you're not raising as much money as you were hoping for, et cetera, just don't get discouraged. Like seriously, when we did our first marathon, we felt so. At the end, we just felt like this cathartic release. It was just like we just did an awesome thing, and we helped out a lot of people by doing it. And so it doesn't matter whether you raise $50 or $50,000. It doesn't matter. Like, you're still helping out and you're still raising money for a really worthwhile cause, and you're helping out kids that are really going to appreciate it when they're in the hospital. So like, that's what you should focus on.
I have a really awesome story about that actually, because I get people all the time that they email and they almost apologize because they're like, hey, I really want to do this event, but you know, it probably won't raise very much money. And it's like, you want to invest your time and energy to help my cause. If it makes $5, we can buy some batteries that will run a game controller for kids. If if your mom donates $20, that's still a game. Like, that's still, and that still makes
Yeah,
an impact.
and just to put that into context for you guys, so so let's say $50. You raise $50 and you're disappointed. We have some of our partner hospitals, for example, let's say the Dallas Medical Center. They see 20,000 pediatric patients per year in that hospital. And every single day, every single hour, that game is being played. Kids are coming and going, coming and going, coming and going. Them, their brothers, their sisters, they're in the waiting rooms, they're sitting there, the controller's there, the game is there. It is constantly in use. It's conceivable that every year, thousands of kids are playing that $50 game. That is completely reasonable. That is not an exaggeration. And we have, right now, over 70 hospitals worldwide. Every single one of those games, for every, a $50 game. It's impossible for us to get a firm number, but it's going really far. And one of the things Jamie and I love so much about Child's Play is that it doesn't take much. It can be a very small amount of money buying one game, but it really is going to be a huge effect, that ripple effect of, if I think of how long I sit and play a game, how many hours. Now everyone's got their favorite game, and you think of how many hours they sunk into that baby. Price it out per hour. You didn't spend a whole lot of money for that entertainment, and then it's the same for the kids. They're getting so much mileage out of each game that goes into the hospitals. So if a $50 result is not disappointing, it was a game, and thousands of kids are going to play it.
One of the logos early on was the Rule of Cool, and the main guy in charge got in contact with me very early on and said, I wrote this tabletop gaming rule book. I don't really want to make money off of it. I just care about, people being able to play it. And I was thinking of offering it for free, but suggesting a donation to Child's Play. Is that cool? And I was like, absolutely. And he was one of those people that's like, it's probably not even going to make $20. And, a month later, it had like 15,000 downloads, or no, more than that, because they had raised about $10,000 and it had been downloaded, tens of thousands of times. And he's just like, what? And so, you always have, the community can exceed your expectations.
Yeah.
They can exceed your expectations in incredible ways. Like, that is what the charity is the community exceeding our expectations every year.
Every single day.
So
you
guys exceed our expectations.
They exceed ours all the time.
Oh, yeah.
When we put things out there and we say, hey, or when some artist makes something custom for us, especially, and we say,
Garrus, can I borrow Garrus?
Like when some artist makes something
I
custom
saw
for
Garrus
us,
come in, I was like, oh my god, check this Garrus out.
This
is he not absolutely fabulous?
Our marathon special by Joe Roberts, and
We've got Tally too.
Oh my god, there's Tally!
This goes back to
these were auctioned off.
Just ask. Like, I asked the artist, and she was like, yeah, I want to make you, like, some one-of-a-kind plushies that, I'm never going to make again. Like, yeah, this is awesome.
And it's just it's like a circle of generosity. It's like we're so thankful for Joe for making them, and then we're so thankful for all the money that they raise for people who want them, and especially because all the people...
You lost me, I forgot.
And there goes Kristen, playing with her Mass Effect toys.
Everybody. I am listening, I'm just putting Tally up.
I think my favorite part of doing the marathon, in all honesty, is my favorite part of doing our own event is all the friends we've made. Because we, appropriately timed.
Sorry guys, sorry. Not trying to do
You brought the toys. I know, we have so many toys. But
no more touching the plushies, Kristen.
But we've made so many friends. We have fans of ours and fans of Child's Play who are here from,
Britain, from
Scotland, from the US, from all over the country, who have come to PAX and have a smaller section have come to see us and meet us and spend time with us and spend 3 days playing games and bringing back toys and letting us all play with them. Like it's such an emotional catharsis to kind of see all this stuff kind of come full circle. It's been a really enriching experience.
Absolutely. And Yogi, you have the last word, and it's the most important thing that you do during a marathon. What's the most important thing?
I said it before, have fun.
Yeah. Like that's
This
the
is,
thing.
you're doing this. I mean,
Yeah.
I was supposed to go more.
Yeah, they're kind of fun.
Just have fun. Be yourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the more that you do that, you will absolutely 100% be a success. And I'm really excited. I'm hoping that someone out there is like really excited and wants to run a marathon or run an event and then does. And if you do, please let me know so I can promote you, because it all goes to the same pot. You know, it all goes to the same charity. It all goes to the same great cause. So
Sarah agrees.
Sarah?
yeah, we all want to help. We all want to help out each other. So like that's really what it comes down to. So now, if you guys have any questions for us, or for Kristen, or for Jamie, we'd love to hear it. You can just spit it out, or we can just sit here and do dance.
Oh, we have a friendly, helpful
All right, well,
enforcer with a
we've got
microphone. Yay, enforcer!
Yeah, just say thank you to every enforcer that you see.
Yeah.
Because that's what I do.
Thank you.
Very well done, yes.
So how long should you, how long should you prepare before doing a marathon or an event like that? Like, is it a year? Is it 6 months? What's safe?
Okay, so funny story about this. Yeah, I know. No, so what ended up happening was with the first Mass Effect marathon, we planned that in a month and a half because I came up with the idea real late. And I was like, yeah, let's just do this and let's do it. The only time that we had free was Thanksgiving Day weekend. So we had to do it really quickly. And we still did okay, but we gave ourselves about 6 months to plan, just because that gave us enough time to contact vendors, to make sure that Jamie and Kristen were on board. If we had any special needs or anything that like we needed their help with, they knew about it well in advance.
Which is very, very appreciated. Well in advance.
It's sort of, I think it's going to depend on what your concept is as
Yeah.
well, you know, what you want to do. If we talked very briefly about like live local events, those can take quite a while to put together when you're lining up
Yeah.
a venue. Yeah,
Right over here
nodding
is
here.
Seg, who's in charge of Boomloud. So
Yeah,
he's
so
resourced that.
those can take quite a while to get all of the things lined up. For something that's an online event that you're thinking, well, maybe for your first year you're going to do it really, you know, on a very small scale or whatever, they might not take as much lead time. But basically, if once the idea comes to you and you've committed to it, that's a really great idea to get in touch with Jamie and I. And you don't even have to have a firm date in mind.
Yeah.
You can just say, hey, you know, this is what I think I want to do, and you can start your outreach at that point. And it'll fall into place for you. It's going to be a logical time. It's going to present itself because you're going to think, okay, I got to get all my ducks in a row, and boom, that's the day to do it. And also using the calendar as a tool, because then you can aim for a weekend where there isn't a lot already going on.
Right, definitely.
You know,
We've
there's
had
all of
people
those.
go against Desert Bus. And
Yeah, all of them.
they're kind of like.
Yeah, I feel really sorry for marathons that like, oh,
I don't know what
this weekend and it's Desert.
I don't know what you're talking about. We're definitely not right after Desert Bus.
Desert Bus backs right into us and the year before, it was like a day or two before, and this year they ran so long that they actually overlapped us by I guess 6 hours, which
Yeah.
was fine, but it's like but it's also kind of nice because after Desert Bus they're like, hey, if you still want to watch a marathon, just watch.
Yeah.
And that's the community outreach. Like, yeah, like contact other marathons as well. Like, especially if they have, if they do something that you think is really cool and interesting, and something that you're like, hey, how did you do that? You know,
Yeah.
like there have been times where I've talked to the guys from Mario Marathon and the guys from Desert Bus just to be like, how do you do that? And then they're nice enough to give me their time and to be like, oh, well, we did it this way, and it's like, great, like that's awesome, because it's just one big community trying to help out each other. So I usually say 6 months, but that's for me. Like it could take significantly less time, or if you have like a really great idea, it could take a little bit more.
We also have a lot of
More than a
practice
week.
time.
Yeah, give it. The one thing I see a lot is people they get really enthusiastic, which I don't blame them. But it's like, I'm going to do a marathon this weekend, and it's like, you can't, like, logistically you can pull it off. You can get a stream running,
Yeah.
but it's going to be small. And that's, if that's what you want to do, that's fine. But and then, after the first one, it gets easier. Every time you
It
do
does.
it, it gets easier.
It does,
and
because
you're
you've
able
just,
to
you've already got stuff
close
set
the
up.
time.
Like I already know how to do the donation system and this, that, and the other thing. It's all already there. I just change a few variables and it's done. So yeah. So I mean, that would be my suggestion. Just give yourself time
Like
to
for
really plan it.
ours is in November, and we have our first full staff planning meeting. Like everybody sits, like every single person sits in a room with a pad and a paper, and we talk about what we think is going on. And they add usually like last week in August, first week in September.
Yeah.
That's when
And-
we bring everyone in. But that's not where the idea starts. That's where
Yeah, usually in July, a smaller section of us
Yeah.
is trying to come up with what we can do. And that's July or June, we're coming up with ideas. So,
And there are a lot of events, and we're focusing quite a bit on the online event here, but a lot of people like to use sort of existing infrastructures, and they can do that on a much shorter notice. For example, a lot of college campuses have video game clubs.
yeah,
And,
definitely.
yeah,
definitely.
exactly.
No, and that's great.
There can be the infrastructure there where maybe you guys do a thing once a month as a charity fundraiser, and you decide 1 month it'll be Child's Play. That sort of thing comes in a lot. Where my campus does a charity a month type deal of
Yeah.
and it's all already set up, and everybody knows to expect. Well, what's the charity of the month? Those sorts of things where you're just plugging yourself into existing nonprofit structures. That you can turn around a lot faster, where you can get together with the board of your video game club or whatever. We see a lot of anime clubs that want to help us out. Basically anywhere where our cultures intersect. That's a really good. You've got the community built in, and it's really easy to say, well, let's do like a fundraising dinner or a LAN or something like that. So the turnaround are a lot quicker on.
Absolutely.
I had two more quick ones.
All right, no, and we'll try to be quick as well.
Excellent. With the Mass Effect Marathon, did you guys find you put out a lot from your pocket to get it going? Did you have like
Yes.
a minimum you needed
Yes,
in order to do that?
it's a
absolutely.
financial commitment, especially because all the prizes that we ship out of our own pocket, and that usually costs us about $300.
Okay.
More if we're shipping more to overseas, and same things for like webcams and capture cards and all that stuff. Yeah, we had to.
The
do that
initial
outright.
investment is a little cost prohibitive, but not really. Especially because we have a lot of people who are kind of in this boat with us. So get some friends and say, hey, can we divide this expenditure?
Right.
5 ways, 6 ways?
And you don't necessarily need, if you're doing an online event, you don't necessarily need to be broadcasting in HD with perfect crystal clear everything right off the bat. You can grow into that, take baby steps.
Yeah, you can work up to it. You don't have
Yeah,
to even
exactly.
really make much of an investment at all for like your first year. If it's
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm going to do a 24-hour stream. You can test the waters and see what you'll need and see what you'll use and what you won't use, and then kind of grow into it.
Yeah, because as we've gotten bigger, we've bought better equipment, but when we started, we didn't have.
Exactly. We were making do with what we had.
Yeah,
So.
and you may also be able to tap into local community resources for that sort of
Absolutely.
thing, where maybe one of your friends, my parents own a shoe store and they ship stuff all the time, and they'll be willing to chip in to help cover the shipping or do the shipping, wherever. So that's something where not just your friends and your video game community may be able to help out, but maybe the place you work at, or maybe where some of your friends can help out with that, local venues, that sort of thing. They may not necessarily be gamers and understand the gaming cause, but they understand charity and are willing to help you out with something you're passionate about. So that's
We also always consider that our Child's Play donation, because we don't make a big one, but we put the marathon on and lots of people donate. So we say, okay, well, our donation is how much it's going to cost us to ship everything.
Yeah. So.
The other part was, are there any identifiers for contacting companies or game makers to get prizes? Is there anything, is it like you go to the PR email address? Do you, aside from Twitter, Facebook, that kind of thing?
Try whatever you can.
Yeah.
Anything that's on the website, try it.
Community managers.
Community managers are good for that.
Yeah.
You can try Twitter, you can try Facebook. That's why I say don't be afraid to just try any avenue that you have to try it out.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, Etsy is really good. So is DeviantArt, because those people, like the people that made Garrus and Tally, that was her charitable donation for the year. She was making those and having them auctioned off. So
Yeah, don't undervalue the donation of time.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's huge. It's massive. Like, okay, like Jamie said earlier, you may not be able to put together a fundraiser, or you don't have the resources to do the online thing, or whatever it is. But like this sort of thing really is gold. It honestly is.
But
So
if you like Desert Bus, a lot of them have crafts. Almost all of them have like a
yeah, crafting
crafting component.
and
And the stuff,
gaming seems to overlap.
people buy them in the auctions and raffles. They, no matter what your talent is, there's pretty much ways to apply it to Child's Play universally. We even have people like running marathons for Child's Play, which for me is like, whoa. But like, that's their thing, so that's what they do.
yeah, absolutely.
So my question's about crafting stuff. Do you have any? I didn't mean. Do you have any like words of wisdom about making cute little plushies of an original IP that I might not
Do
have
it.
made myself? Like, it's cool. You'll go to bat for us. Like, I guess. Do you have any words of wisdom on that, or since it's all for charity, is it pretty much cool? Like, can I make a metal Normandy sculpture?
Like
I don't think legally there's a problem.
no, because we're not. I mean,
We're not making profit off.
I have
So-
never heard any copyright concerns from anybody regarding.
So go nuts.
The
Well-
selling of BioWare themed plushes.
We
I
had an
think-
issue with that this year,
Oh,
but
you
not because of the plushies. What they told us was that since we had fan submissioned art, they couldn't endorse us.
Okay.
But not that they couldn't make them.
Right, I
Or
mean-
we couldn't sell them.
Yeah,
Or auction them
You
off.
may run into that. Like, I know that for Mario Marathon, Nintendo knows that Mario Marathon exists and does a bunch of stuff, but they don't promote it because
It's just a legal
It's just a
issue?
legal thing. But they will totally 99% of the time. I've never seen it where they like stop it, but they'll just be like, okay, you guys can do what you will.
There's also the annual Child's Play charity dinner auction that Jamie organizes every year, and that's like one of the. We only do 2 events a year ourselves, and that's the one that we do in the winter in December, and we do have donations and crafts.
Auctions.
Like seriously, if we had something like this for that, it would sell for like $1,000 or more.
Would you like a Muppet?
We'll make you. Yeah. So
Yogi, you have
if
to make
you're
another Muppet.
nervous about any sort of, I don't know if we can, take donations for this on your stream, any concerns like that, that's something where you can just ship it right to us, and then, your liability is, well, I made a thing and donated it to Child's Play. It becomes a moot point,
Yeah.
and then we can auction it off, and it's fine
Yeah, definitely.
because we're technically a nonprofit. Yeah. So.
Any other questions? Oh, we got a couple over here too.
Yeah, so I've got a question about scaling upwards.
Yes.
Anyone can really put together a marathon and do it once, but once you get into your second, third, fourth times or whatever, do you have any tips for scaling upwards, becoming more and more successful, and also not taking up an equal amount of planning time, like proportionate to how big you get?
It really depends on what you're doing, on what event you're doing, whether whatever it may be. Speaking personally, what we just tried to do was we just tried to do more, or we just tried to do bigger things. So like, and really pay, like, whatever your first event is, pay attention to what people really latched onto. Like, for us, it was like the first year they really liked this song, and they really liked, they loved us doing dances. So we did more dances, and we did more complicated dances. And, people really loved it when we talked like Mass Effect L-cores for like 30 minutes. So we gave them the option of, what movie would you like us to L-corify? And of course they picked Twilight. Which has about 1,000 hits on YouTube, which makes me so happy. But yeah, like, just figure out what they really liked and do a more elaborate version of that. And then if you had an idea that like was like, oh, we didn't have time for that last year, or like, we didn't, like, I couldn't wrap my head around that, give it a shot this year.
Yeah, the crafting is a good example of that too. Like, I think I may be wrong, but it's almost it's possible to trace the the craft-along concept back to Desert Bus, had it having to do a lot with Tally from Loading Ready Run, who is a huge crafter, and the certain stuff that she had made for the Desert Bus Marathon being something that was really popular with the audience, actually, evolving to the point where they have a craft-along now every year, where people send in submissions like months and months before the marathon, where they're making something to donate specifically for the marathon, and I mean, it's a thing now, the Desert Bus Craft-Along. So, yeah, that's a perfect example where they had identified something that, people love Tally's crafts, and then, developing that into a whole big thing and it also draws in another community, essentially, into Desert Bus, because then all of a sudden they have these, amazing knitters and felt workers and stuff like that who maybe aren't even gamers, but they're coming in because they're supporting a cause.
Oh, there's an awesome testimonial.
Yeah, roping in all these different
mom who was knitting a scarf or something for, I think it was, I don't remember which one it was. But anyway, mom knits this scarf and she's like, well, I love my daughter so much, I'd do anything for her, but then, learns what she's doing and why she's doing it. And so then her knitting club all got on out. Like, mom, like, that's the best.
Tycho's mom.
Yeah.
Tycho's mom makes us a quilt every year for the Child's Play dinner auction. And she makes a game-themed quilt. Last, it was Tetris. She did a Tetris one. Oh, the Zelda one that she did. She did this really awesome Zelda one winner. Every year we have a quilt from Tycho's mom. So, it's just, these things, they just build sort of by themselves once you figure out what really works.
Yeah, so ask your fans and figure out what they really loved and latch onto that. And then also ask your fans, but what would you like to see? And then they came up with puppets. We didn't have puppets, and then our fans were like, you should do puppet theater. And now you see what happens.
When we did our planning meeting for the second marathon, we pulled in 2 fans from our first one as part of our planning process, and they were instrumental in helping us plan it, because they were like, hey, this was pretty cool, but what about this? And puppet theater was their idea. So.
It was great, so absolutely. So, yes, you had a question?
I just want to say what you guys do is really cool, because growing up, when I was younger, I spent some time at Yale Children's Hospital in New Haven, going through some really intensive surgeries, and the nurse gave me a Game Boy with Pokemon on it. First time I ever played that game.
That's so awesome.
And it took my mind off of what I was going through with the next couple hours. It just let me escape to what was going on over there. And I think it's really cool what you guys are doing here. Thank you.
Yeah, here, there.
Thank you again for everything you do. It's amazing. A quick question. You guys start to drive at the end of the year. Is there anything, would you recommend holding our events till that time, or can we have them springtime and so forth?
Yeah, we used to be very focused on the end of the year. In November and December were sort of the months that Child's Play is up and running, and previously I was encouraging people to target for those months. But now we have Jamie on board as a project manager full-time year-round. So now we're not so pegged into those 2 months anymore. We sort of look at it now that November and December is when we do the toy drive, really. But it's really a year-round thing now. So that while that used to be the way we worked, it's not so much anymore.
There are definitely busy months and weeks on the calendar. If you look on the website, you can kind of see our calendar. We've got to fix it because it breaks every once in a while, because we get so many people that are like, oh, this happens to be, which is awesome. It's
a good problem to have.
But yeah, you can see on the calendar when there's kind of fluctuations and do it according to that.
Yeah, absolutely.
You had mentioned about colleges doing this type of thing, and I was wondering if you had heard about this at a high school level, and if so, what they've done, because it just kind of seems like kids helping kids is a good way to go.
Sure, absolutely. We get in touch with schools all the time, or that contact us, and sometimes they're doing it with a student advisor, like it's some kind of, a high school club or a senior project. Oh, my Eagle Scouts.
Oh yeah. I've even had Girl Scout 7 years old.
Yeah, a lot of time people do it as a mitzvah. So there are ways, all of that sort of thing, and from all ages, that come in and want to do stuff. We've had elementary school groups do fundraisers. Mrs. Kennedy is going to help us with this bake sale.
I like video games.
Yeah, I like
video games as sick kids, and you just want to reach through the screen and be like, "You're so cute."
Yeah, I know, it's so great. And you know what?
One of my favorites was a senior prom. Instead of doing like popularity contests, they basically had a fundraising contest, and whoever raised the most money was the prom king and the prom queen, and the prom king raised money for Child's Play.
Yeah, if there are any teachers teachers here, it's a great way to introduce philanthropy to kids, and this is something we've heard back as well, where we've had faculty members come to us and say, philanthropy is a difficult thing to get the younger population to do. Philanthropists generally skew much older. I guess it's when people think of, who are big charitable souls, they tend to think of, just older people. And the demographic that we fall in is statistically not a huge donating demographic. That's just the way it is. Our charity, though, happens to...
We're the outliers.
We are the outliers. Yeah, we hit this demographic in a way that a lot of charities simply aren't able to. And in terms leaving the video game nature aside, if we just look at philanthropic groups, man, they're so envious of us because they say to us, "How did you get this generation to give like this?" It's incredible.
They ask like, "Well, what's your mailing list?"
We're a gateway charity. Is what how they describe us. And it's not just us. It's even younger.
The Twitters.
I've
heard about
it's pretty cool that we're, because we loop in this really cool video game culture, we're able to, everyone really wants to help, and we're able to hit a younger demographic than normally donates. And that's something you can start at a really young level. My daughter did a Child's Play fundraiser, and of course it was the cool fundraiser, and all of her friends wanted to help because it was video games. So it's a great teaching tool if any of you are in that field of work, because you can teach your students to give in a way that is still going to be really fun and compelling for them.
All right, we have 5 minutes, so we'll get to your question, and then if anyone else has any questions, we will be outside, and you can answer whatever you want. And also up here, there's a bunch of information. This presentation is a PDF. It's up on geekwatch.com/CPC, and there's a bunch of emails there, and the event calendar, and also there's our marathon if you want to actually watch what we do. And
you do.
If you want to get ideas and stuff like that, you can watch it. We have flyers up here and everything, but we will be available afterwards for questions. Yes?
Thank you. Incidentally enough, I actually run one of those college or club organizations, a video game club down.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, we actually did do a Child's Play event back in October. I spoke to a few of you, so it's nice to finally meet you. But
did we get you the W-9? That's all I want to know.
Yeah, that was actually
sometimes the administrations need forms.
Yeah, that was all handed to the college, so they finally got that out. It was a little late, but they finally got that out to you. But the biggest problem that we had during planning and setting up for everything was finding good means of promotion. I mean, I know for online events it's easier to do that because you can use things like Twitter and Reddit and things like that to get the word out. But it was kind of hard for us to, put up flyers and make sure people saw them. We used a lot of word of mouth to get around, which did make it a success. But do you guys have any tips for people who are doing local events like that as a better way to get the word around and to make sure that people are aware that you're having a local event?
Sure. On campus, if you have a campus newspaper, it's always great to talk to them. We found that to be a really good way to get the word out because a lot of people read the campus paper. And if you're able to, like you said, do the flyers and things like that, and if you have a student union building, those are places to get the word out. Sometimes you may have luck even with your local community papers because it's, particularly if there's a local hospital to you, that helps a lot too. Sometimes if it's supporting the local children's hospital, mainstream media is a little more willing to maybe give you a bit of coverage, like, oh, this student group is raising money through Child's Play for the local hospital, and we can target donations to local facilities. It's not necessarily all going into one big pot. If you're able to get more traction for support by saying that, okay, well, the money we raised is going to specifically go to our local Child's Play partner hospital, that's cool, we can work with that. And it helps sometimes to get a little more coverage and a little more support from your community. So those are all avenues that you can take as well. And, you know, the social media thing is, you know, you make a Facebook page that, and even just getting a URL and putting that around campus, that helps as well.
And go to the places that you hang out, like Card Kingdom in Seattle, like if there's Seattleites here, like it's just a big gaming shop, and that's where, you know, that's where I go to hang out, and that's where I would be interested to find that information. And they're usually pretty willing, especially if you explain like, hey, this is, you know, a gaming charity, they want to know about it. They, you know, and if they can't donate product, they can, you know, maybe put your flyer up or tell people about it or whatever. So.
It can be your virtual community too. It can be your clan, it can be your guild. We have a lot of those types of fundraisers as well.
Absolutely.
Where it's a guild that does a fundraiser for us, and or you know, however that works. Like I keep thinking of WoW and Anarchy, who every year does the Paint DS fundraiser. Like they just, it can be a virtual community or it can be your actual community.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like I said, I think we're all out of time. But I want to thank you guys for coming on down and listening to us. We really appreciate it. We want to see more events. We want to see more things like that. And like I said, if you have questions, we'll be right outside. We've got flyers. We've got business cards. We want to talk.